They know all the animals in the woods. Most are avid outdoorsmen, hunters, fishermen. They know the difference between an owl and a Mothman type creature.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 UFO incidents that have still yet to be explained.
Really, they were flying in a V formation, and you know my theory, birds with flashlights.
Yeah, that's plausible.
For this list, we're looking at UFO incidents that still defy explanation, even with modern science. Let us know in the comments if you've ever had a close encounter.
Hey Mojoholics! For a chance to win cash prizes, play our live daily trivia challenges every day at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern only at WatchMojo.com/play.
Number 10. The Mount Rainier UFO Sighting. This sighting, also called the Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting, is the one that gave us the phrase flying saucer. Kenneth Arnold, a pilot, was flying near Mount Rainier in Washington state in 1947 when he encountered a series of unusual flashing lights.
Arnold, a civilian pilot, sees bright objects flash across the sky during a flight in Washington state.
He then spotted multiple flying objects shimmering as if they were made out of mirrors. He followed the objects for a while until they eventually flew away from him, much faster than his plane.
Arnold had said that they moved as though like they were saucers skipping on the water. And that phrase got turned into flying saucers.
When papers reported on it, the name flying saucer was coined to describe what he saw, and the military eventually investigated. But with no evidence other than Arnold's own testimony, we might never know what the objects were.
Arnold's sighting makes front-page news. In the days that follow, several hundred sightings of flying objects are recorded across the country.
Number 9. The New Jersey Turnpike. People stopped in their cars to get a better look at a V-shaped UFO that was spotted over the New Jersey Turnpike in 2001.
Hundreds of people reported seeing more than a dozen bright yellow or orange lights moving across the stars. Carteret police saw them too. Nobody knows what they were, although some have some interesting theories about visitors from outer space.
These lights were supposed to be gold and appeared at night and were even seen by local cops and filmed. They were compared extensively to the similar V-shaped UFO formation seen in Arizona in 1997, the so-called Phoenix Lights. And again, some people thought military flares were responsible.
I wasn't alarmed, but in any case, because for the simple fact that it was peaceful.
Very peaceful, very serene, very beautiful, and I just think we witnessed some type of miracle.
Decades on, and we still don't know what they were. Maybe another military exercise was to blame, but when similar formations of light in the sky keep appearing, perhaps something more is going on.
NASA says they had every appearance of being airborne flares, maybe released by a National Guard unit or as a prank from a private plane.
Number 8. The Hill Abduction. The most famous alien abduction case of all time, the abduction of Barney and Betty Hill, established many of the hallmark characteristics of the alien abduction myth. The Hills were driving through New Hampshire in 1961 when they saw a flying saucer following them.
As we rode along, I kept watching it, and then all of a sudden, I noticed that it had started to move. And we decided to stop, get out of the couch, and take a look at it.
Eventually, the saucer landed, and they approached to investigate, seeing humanoid figures within. They then returned home with missing time and missing memories.
They're taking me up to the object. I don't want to go on it. I don't know what's going to happen if I go on it.
Betty started to regain her memories through dreams and came to believe that she and her husband had been abducted by aliens and experimented on, though the aliens were friendly. She said that they came from Zeta Reticuli. To this day, it's not clear what actually happened to the Hills that night.
Whatever happened to Betty and Barney Hill, they believe that it happened, and they are reporting it as accurately and truthfully as they know how.
Number 7. Aurora UFO Incident. This alien encounter is often taken to be a bit of local color down in Texas, but it's still not clear where the strange story came from or what happened.
According to local legend and a Texas historical marker, this is the burial site of an alien.
In 1897, newspapers reported that a UFO had crashed near a farm and had been carrying an alien astronaut. The alien died in the crash and was allegedly buried in the town's cemetery.
2 days later, it made the front page of the Dallas Morning News. But Wheeler says it's not something that many of the townspeople wanted shared.
It's plausible that the entire story was fabricated and to great effect, since it remains a popular, if absurd, legend in the area. But they do say that there's a kernel of truth in every story, and maybe a spaceman did crash down in the Old West.
The evidence has accumulated until now. There's no doubt in my mind that the story is authentic and that there is something here.
Number 6. Halftime. This UFO sighting was experienced by countless people, all watching a friendly soccer game in Florence, Italy in 1954. As the story goes, the match had to be stopped partway through because a large number of UFOs appeared in the sky. Thousands of people were witnesses, and they variously described an object that looked like an egg or a cigar, but it was brilliant white and left a strange residue behind when it departed. Scientists believe that the entire object was a unique weather phenomenon involving spider webs getting pulled into the atmosphere, which would also explain the residue, but it was over far too quickly to be studied in detail. Number 5. Westall UFO. Now on to Australia. This famous sighting happened in 1966 and also boasts a great many witnesses.
Westall high students and teachers insist they saw UFOs triggering a massive government cover-up.
In Melbourne, a group of school children and their teacher all saw a flying saucer fly over the top of their school one morning, supposedly being chased by airplanes.
They claim one landed in a park, then took off.
I could feel a heat and hear this buzzing sound, and I could see purple lights all around it.
The Royal Australian Air Force had no records of any such event, at least not any it's ever made public. But to be seen by so many people, it's definitely worth further study. Some have blamed a weather balloon for the sighting, as they often do, but even 60 years on, and nobody really knows what happened or what the UFO was.
Do you think you'll ever find out about the mystery? No, I doubt it very much.
Number 4. Flatwoods Monster. Part UFO encounter, part cryptid. The Flatwoods Monster is today a staple of West Virginia folklore. Supposedly, in 1952, a bright object flew across the sky and crashed down to Earth.
And there were a number of young people going off into the woods and saw some kind of fiery, glowing object that descended or came down.
Some people went to investigate and eventually came across an alien figure, perhaps 10 feet tall, that glided across the ground and created a foul smell that left them unwell.
I do recall seeing the May family sketches. They weren't extremely detailed, but they were similar. The family members all drew the same thing, which was interesting.
Usually people blame a large barn owl for the sighting, thanks to the detailed description, but no owl is 10 feet tall. Owls also don't leave burn marks on the ground or crash to Earth on comets.
People were thinking maybe it was mass hysteria, maybe it was fake, maybe it was just made up.
Number 3. Mothman. Another incident that toes the line between a fantastical monster and an extraterrestrial, and which also took place in West Virginia, were the sightings of Mothman in 1966 and 1967.
They claim to have seen a large winged creature, 6 to 7 foot tall, gray in color, and 2 large red eyes.
Alien or not, this mysterious creature was an unidentified flying object in the true sense, spotted by numerous people. The sightings culminated with the 1967 Silver Bridge collapse, in which 46 people lost their lives.
They said that the Mothman appeared before the bridge fell. It's like a legend.
Although I'm fairly certain a flying cryptid didn't cause this disaster, the Silver Bridge did collapse.
Some blame Mothman for this or believe that he was providing a warning, but it's still not clear what those actual sightings were. Maybe it was a large bird of some kind. A crane is usually mentioned, or maybe he was something not of this world.
Skeptics have attributed the Mothman sightings to a misidentification of giant owls or even a crane that is local to the area. There's all kinds of other explanations that have been given.
Number 2. Phantom airships. Again, we have a UFO sighting that predates the Second World War, which is unusual. This bizarre craze of sightings happened in the 1890s as members of the public began to see mystery airships in the sky. This was still a few years before the first successful airplane, where the only ways to fly were in airships or balloons, so it makes sense that people would see a UFO and determine that it must be some kind of airship. The panic then re-emerged 15 years later, just before World War I. Some believe the whole thing was made up to sell newspapers, while others point to it as proof that aliens have been on Earth for centuries. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. The Invasion of Washington. In 1952, America was under attack. The capital city, Washington, D.C., was besieged by unexplained aircraft, visible to both the naked eye and to radar equipment.
In the skies over the heart of the United States government, multiple unidentified flying objects are picked up on radar by air traffic controllers at Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base.
Even the most experienced airmen and aviation workers saw bright lights and strange objects, including one described as a ball of fire.
Basically, it was all over the news, all over the entire world.
So it happened twice on 2 consecutive weekends, meaning that more and more people saw the same thing.
It was so alarming that the CIA investigated, setting up the Robertson Panel under the president's orders because they thought the event represented a threat to national security. It remains such a unique encounter because it lasted for multiple days and had so many witnesses. And it might be the UFO encounter that the U.S. government has taken most seriously of all.
The Air Force created Project Blue Book to investigate the growing number of sightings and contact events. But was this simply an attempt on the part of the U.S. government to suppress the truth?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.